I am more than happy to burn that creator to the ground. But I'm not just going to put it out there, like,
Sure.
hang up signs or whatever.
Right.
If somebody wants to buy their work, I will sell it to them. I won't stock it. I'll sell it to them, but I want them to know what they're getting.
This goes out to the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Dal, it is the day after Christmas.
It is Boxing Day.
Yet the gift giving isn't over yet.
No.
Because I have, for you right now,
Me?
a gift.
What's that?
You get to choose
Oh, gosh.
the first topic of this website. Website?
Woof.
I was leaving a message for someone on the phone today,
Last error of
and
2020.
instead of saying, we're open until 5, I said, we're open until Friday.
That's right, nonstop. Every minute of every day.
You get to choose the first topic of this episode of Contest of Challengers. Here are your choices.
Ready for it.
A, mechanical engineering.
Uh-huh.
B, emotional dissonance.
Uh-huh.
Or C, spatial juxtaposition.
I'll take spatial juxtaposition for $500, Alex.
All right. And I want you to know I came up with those headers
Uh-huh.
as I was writing them down.
I definitely would have taken potpourri if it was up there.
Oh, sorry. So, spatial juxtaposition.
Uh-huh.
That is code for the post office.
Oh, the post office.
Yes.
I'm familiar with their work.
We've talked in the last few episodes, as it led up to the holidays, about the timing of things being delivered or not delivered, and how there are things still missing and waiting for, and how the post office is understaffed, under-budgeted, and just swarmed.
And under the gun. Yep.
Now, when you last worked, which was, I believe,
Wednesday the 23rd.
Christmas Eve, Wednesday the 23rd, you had packaged up a bunch of things to send out to subscribers and some web orders.
Yeah.
And the post office worker came
The mail carrier.
earlier
Yes.
Wednesday, and it's the good one. It's the one we like.
Yes.
And she took that stuff, and there was other stuff. Sometimes she comes by a second time, sometimes she does not.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you had, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 priority mail envelopes
yeah.
ready to go out.
Yep.
Nothing large, just a
No.
bunch of them.
Yep.
Well, I stopped into the store after hours on Christmas Eve, so late in fact, it was actually Christmas morning,
Gasp.
just to see if perhaps some mail had arrived that I was waiting for gifts. And no mail had arrived because no mail carrier came at all
Uh-huh.
because all those packages were still there.
That's great.
Today, which was
Saturday.
Saturday, the 26th of December,
Boxing Day.
so I've heard, a mail carrier comes in with 2 very small packages. And I was ringing someone up. I said, oh, don't go anywhere. I've got stuff for you. And she said, no, I'm not taking anything. Your regular mail carrier is going to get those. And I'm like, are you sure she's coming? Like, someone will be here.
We've been told that before, and sometimes it doesn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, shocker.
So those packages are still waiting at the store.
I guess they'll maybe go out Monday.
And normally I would have just taken them to the post office because they're open till 7. But on the Saturdays, they close at 3.
Yeah.
I found that out the hard way one time
Yeah.
by going after 5, and they were closed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that the stuff is still sitting there and has been for a few days, but at the same time, it's a holiday weekend, and I don't feel like I owe the people who are waiting for them a huge explanation. It's mostly just like, it's a holiday weekend. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, what's weird about what came today,
Uh-huh.
a birthday gift I ordered for my sister
Uh-huh.
that I ordered fairly recently and wasn't worried about it showing up on time because I've still got about 3 weeks before I need to give it to her. That showed up. And if you recall the story of my new Christmas tie,
I do.
that showed up today.
Hey.
When
For next year.
I don't give a shit about that tie. And also,
For the next 11 and a half months.
it is just a printed tie.
Yeah,
It isn't.
special.
It isn't a fun fabric. It's just printed. It's not even superhero-y because I could not find any new superhero Christmas ties. It's just a white tie they printed on, and you can see it. Like it wasn't like they printed the fabric and made the tie. The tie was fully assembled and then printed because the little strappy on the back where you could tuck it in.
Sure.
That was printed on, so underneath it is just a little white rectangle.
Sure.
And the bottom, where it points down, but it forms a diamond when you flip it over.
Yep.
So inside the diamond is printed, but if you lift it up, it's all stark white. And there's a white line down the whole back where the seam was. It didn't print on the seam. So it looks like it's decent, but I feel like after I wear it twice, it's just going to be garbage.
Maybe.
And I'm willing, like, the reason I bought that tie was because it's the only one that didn't look like it was just a stupid print-on-demand tie, when in fact it was a stupid print-on-demand tie.
I'm sorry.
That I got the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for 5 Christmas presents to come in.
Oof.
One I ordered back in October.
Oh,
October 29th.
Golly. It's a long time.
Most of them are for you.
Hey. Merry Christmas.
One is for Gina.
Okay.
And Gina's I had the option for electronic delivery, and I said, no, I would rather give her a thing in person. Well, that's on me.
Someday.
I hope. I hope I would. But that's not just us. That's everywhere in the country.
It really is everywhere.
Everybody's getting swarmed, and I know that there's a gift from our good friend Chris Smits that I haven't gotten yet. There's stuff you haven't gotten from your mom.
Yeah.
So I know that it's not just us. It's everywhere. And it's a little annoying, but I mean, you know, what can you do?
There's a pandemic.
There is a pandemic, but also there's a government that that ruined it.
Yep, that exists.
Well, that was a very short.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like that. There's a short. Like I don't have an episode worth of topics, but I had just 3 things that came up.
Sure. Okay.
There's other stuff that we'll get to. There's one other thing up there, but now that you know what the topics are, can you read my scritching?
Let's keep working from the bottom. External dissonance,
emotional dissonance.
Yes.
So this goes.
As it turns out, I cannot read your writing now.
This goes back to something that you had said at the end of the day on a Wednesday. That do you remember?
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I say a lot of things.
Well, it's true, but I was listening.
Oh, okay.
Just how tired you were.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But how,
especially the holiday shopping season,
right? And that's specifically what that's about.
Like the last year was pretty strange because we had the 2 stores, so we were both working a lot.
Right.
So Christmas was just this weird respite, this one day where it's like, oh, we can't go into the store. We each have a day off. I mean, you had a day of family stuff, so it wasn't like a day off.
Right.
And then like the next day, both of us were working again, I think.
No, you had it off.
Did I? What was? Oh, was Christmas Wednesday?
Christmas was a Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So I did have a day off. I had 2 days off in a row for the first time in like a month.
Yeah. And the last time.
Yeah.
Until the pandemic.
But this year was different because I had Thursday, Friday, Saturday off like I usually do. So there's really this sense of like that last Wednesday before Christmas was like, oh, like I felt like I reached the finish line. Like all of the heavy traffic of people coming in, of all of the online orders, all that stuff, like it's rough because it's so constant, but B, it's a very 2020 thing where all of that stuff takes way more energy. Not just because of masks and social distancing and everything else, but just like, especially the last couple days, it was people coming in and it's, you know, gone were the days of, oh, I have a list. Here are the things I need to get for someone that I need to get a gift for. It was a lot of like, so this friend of mine really likes comics. I know he likes words and pictures in stories. What do you have for that? And it was like it's the most broad, open-ended. You don't really know anything about them or their tastes. This isn't the like, I have a fiance who's big into Batman. What Batman stuff do they not have? Okay, here, let me find you that. It was just like, and because they don't know what they're looking for, it's hard to give them anything because nothing seems right. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. But then I think my favorite part of all that would be you smiling and a delight to deal with, offer them suggestions, and then we're usually met with, what else do you have? Not, oh, that's pretty good, or no, I don't think so. Just, What else do you have?
Or, and this is key, the reasons why or why not.
Yeah, I'm not giving you anything to go on. I'm not saying warm, cold.
Yeah. It's like saying, I want a dessert. Okay, here's a chocolate chip cookie. Okay, do you have anything else? Okay, what didn't you like about the chocolate chip cookie I just offered you? Do you want to see different kinds of cookies? Do you want to see something that's not a cookie? Do you want to see not chocolate? Like, what about the thing I just offered you didn't work so we can figure out a way to get you what you need? If you're just saying no, I'm not just going to keep pointing at everything in the store until I get a yes. Like, this is unhelpful. And that's, unfortunately, a lot of the people that are coming in for last-minute gifts are the people who have no idea what they're looking for, and unfortunately won't know it when they see it. So it's a lot of, like, you're really just fishing, and eventually they give up or you give up, and something gets bought. Or it doesn't. Sometimes it just doesn't. So that the last few days of the Christmas shopping season are always pretty draining. And this year in particular, it just, with the extra shipping and stuff that we had to do, there were a lot of last-minute Shopify orders for local pickup, thankfully, so it didn't require a ton of work, that were coming in like almost every few minutes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So yeah, emotional dissonance, Patrick.
Well, Dal, I'm here to tell you, you're not alone.
Me? What?
I was also going to say it gets better, but I can't guarantee that.
No.
But I can tell you you're not alone because
Why?
there was a thread on a retailer board today about that exact same topic and why do I feel so completely exhausted? Why is it worse than years past?
I would disagree with that part, but okay.
You're not exhausted?
No, I'm exhausted, but I don't think it's worse than years past. I think there are additional elements to this year that make doing everything more stressful and take more energy. But
sure, but I mean, isn't that
yeah? But when
they said worse than years past, they just meant the weight of their tiredness.
I guess
not like financially or
no. But even then, I don't know that I would necessarily agree with that because some of it I think is just a year's gone by and you've forgotten what it felt like. You know, it doesn't stick in your memory as super traumatic until you start experiencing it, and then you're like, I don't remember it being like this. I guarantee you it was like this. The stuff that's extra stressful isn't stressful because of the holiday season. It's stressful because there is a pandemic.
I don't know. I also think that part of it is getting older and then it's harder to recover or bounce back.
Sure. Whole industry is getting older.
Yeah. But I mean, the people that work in it are getting older.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And
like the people who are running stores, everyone's a year older than they were last year.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a million new stores opening up, especially in the midst of a pandemic.
You know, and then things slow down. I was honestly surprised that we haven't had any Shopify orders the last couple days. And I thought we'd get a bunch on Christmas Day just to spite us.
Sure.
I was a little surprised by the number of club member emails we got on Christmas Day that were not even like, hey, can you add this to my list? But very specific, you know, I need this answer to this thing.
Right.
And I thought, can't it wait a day? Like, do we have to be available to you every second of every day?
I see what you're saying.
And I'm sure they wouldn't mind if we waited, but we mind if we wait.
Yeah, and on top of
that... Like, that stuff bugs me if it just sits in my inbox.
Yeah, same here. And as you had brought up, they probably felt like it was fine to email back because we emailed them in the first place.
Well, we didn't email them.
Which is why I answered them, because I was the one who sent out the subscriber email Friday morning on Christmas. Because I was just like, oh, this
without
is
even a
when
Merry Christmas on it.
It was in the subject line.
Was it?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
I specifically added it because I'm like, well, everything in here is like, get ready for New Year's. So I wanted to put like, I want to put a Christmas thing. But I didn't want to like completely rewrite what you'd done because I frankly didn't have time for it.
What were you doing on Christmas morning?
Sending that email out and then talking to my mom, I think.
I'll let it slide.
Thanks.
But there's a whole industry of people who feel extremely tired. And even today,
sure,
this is going to shock a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little less than willing to immediately help people today.
No. Shut your mouth.
Someone came in with what I considered a very easily Googleable question.
Mm-hmm. Are you open?
And
you're standing in the store.
A thing like that, it's just like, what? When you have a question, I had a question for you a little earlier. Like we were talking about a thing I got for Christmas, and a question came up. You immediately took to the internet to find out.
Yeah, that's what Google's there for.
I needed to find out some information, which we'll get to in mechanical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I do? I looked it up online.
Yeah.
And even more than that, his question was far more easily answerable by the packaging of the item he was looking at.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was working with Andrew, who is much more well-versed, versed at all in Power Rangers comics
Sure.
than I.
He's a fan.
And as a fan, he was able to immediately say, oh, here's the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this guy had said, he's like, yeah, I got a question. And I was working on a project all day today, so I was behind the counter, like backed away, you know where the trash usually is, kind of like right on there.
Sure.
So he's like, I got a question. I'm like, yeah. And then he starts coming behind the counter. I'm like,
Yeah, what?
He's like, well, and he's holding up his phone. I got this book, and then I got this book. Is there something in between them? Well, when you have volume 7 and volume 9 of a series, what would you think?
They only do odd-numbered books.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're like Star Trek movies,
That's-
only the odd number ones
That's
count.
the easiest conclusion you can draw. No,
Yeah.
obviously there's a volume 8 that you don't have.
Yeah, but Andrew was like, yeah, let me show you where those are, and it's so good, and this is such a great thing, and that was really good, and I was
There's a
happy for that.
there's a weird positive and negative thing about trying to answer people's questions during the Christmas shopping season. And it's a tricky thing because we get a lot of requests for things that we don't carry or have never carried. People will call up because, like, basically somebody had called up, just as an example, for, do you guys carry any, any Christmas stuff? And I'm trying to explain, like, oh, we've got some kids' books for Christmas, and we've got some pop vinyls. Specifically, they're looking for superhero-themed Christmas stockings.
Okay.
And I'd go, no, we don't have that.
Why don't you just lead with that?
Right. So, because at this point, I've already tried to, like, vaguely answer their question, and then it's like, oh, no, you wanted a specific thing that we don't have.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the follow-up question is, okay, but do you know where I can get that? And that question is so tricky because, honestly, and I hate saying this, but during the Christmas shopping season, you're better off, even if you think of an answer to their question that's helpful, just say no.
Because your one answer leads to 1,000 follow-up questions.
Yeah, you are drawn into something now, and they're going to want more explanations and more, okay, but I tried this.
Do you know which ones they have?
Yeah.
How much are they? How do I get there? Where is
by
it?
offering any solution, you have put yourself forward as an expert in their minds. And even though you can't say, look, I know a little bit about this, but not nearly enough to help you, at this point, you are their lifeline. Do not throw them that lifeline. You
Right.
basically have to just
Right.
go, no, like, we don't have it, I don't know who does. Because I'm not your personal shopper. Like, I can't reach a point where it's just like, oh, let me save Christmas for you. This isn't like Miracle on 34th Street or whatever. This is, I'm not Santa Claus.
I thought you were.
No, I'm not. And that's a thing that happens a lot during the holidays. And it's obviously, you want to be helpful. Someone calls up and they're, you can hear the kind of desperation in their voice as they're looking for something that's going to save somebody's Christmas or whatever. And you want to give them a little bit of guidance or assistance. But frankly, like, there's things I don't know anything about, and trying to be that for them, trying to give them information that I don't necessarily have 100%, I'm better off giving them no information.
There was someone in today who had previously asked the same question, but just wanted to make sure. There's no way you're going to get a Cyberpunk 2077 #1 back in stock?
Definitely not. People keep asking.
No,
for it.
I'm
It's
real
like,
sorry.
The book
It's
came out 3 months ago.
it's
It's sold out
sold out. They
3
didn't
months
do a
ago.
second print.
because it's a 4-issue series. They're doing a collection.
Yeah.
In a couple months, I wish they had done it sooner. It's not like they didn't have plenty of delays on that video game that they could have put the comic out earlier and gotten the trade out in time for the release of the game and Christmas, but they didn't. So this is where we are.
So I'm sorry, it's sold out from the publisher. We can't get any more. Okay, is that the same for every comic store? Yes, that it's sold out from the publisher at every comic store. Yes. If stores have it, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Good luck.
one of the most frequently asked questions is we're sold out of something. Okay, can you think of any store, any comic shop that would have it? And the answer is always, any comic store could have it. I don't know which ones do have it. Your only solution is to call other stores.
Yeah.
People seem to think this, like, and I don't know where this idea comes from, that, like, we are
An
knowledgeable.
interconnected network.
Well, that we're knowledgeable about what every comic shop carries. Like, I run a store. I don't frequently go into other stores. It's not like someone's asking, like, oh, do you have this Avengers comic that you're sold out of? Like, oh, we don't. We're sold out of it. But I was in Gmart the other day, and they definitely have one. So, or like, that pop vinyl, we haven't had that in a few years, but I think I saw that at Chicago Comics the other day. Like, no, it would be like, again, this is, you're talking about Santa Claus stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's like going to Target, and Target doesn't have that. And Target going, I'm pretty sure the Walmart over on Cicero, like, no, you can't do that anywhere.
Right. You're not going to go to Jewel and be like, oh, you're out of King's Hawaiian bread.
Right.
Do you know who else has it?
Yeah.
Have you tried Pete's Fresh Market? Oh, down on Western?
But that is, I mean, it's not like we don't get that, do you know another comic shop that would have it question year-round? Because we do, but so much greater frequency in December. Just nearly every, do you have this thing that's answered with, it's completely sold out. We never carried that. We did carry it, but we're not planning on getting any more before Christmas. Every single one of those is met with like, okay, but what comic shop does have it then? Or what store can I find that at?
Today's requests were, do we have model kits?
Nope.
No, we don't. You should.
We did have a Common Rider model kit, so I'll definitely order a bunch more of those since people are asking for them.
Thanks for listening. Beep. Like, hey, you should try Nakama. They have, oh, no, you know what? I was going to go there, but I was just driving by here. I thought I'd stop because I saw your windows.
Yeah.
All right, fair point.
Yeah. I will almost always suggest Nakama for specific things. Like, anytime someone's like, do you have any Dragon Ball stuff? We've got the graphic novels. No, I meant like toys or stuff. Go to Nakama Toys.
You want any Gundam?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, there's 2 properties I know they have, so it's like, definitely check with them.
And then also, movies. No, we don't.
Yeah.
We had 3 separate requests for Avatar, and we have no Avatar books.
Yep.
So maybe order like 10 copies.
Oh, I mean, if I can.
If you can.
Last time I did, I ordered like 6 copies of the one book they had.
Yeah.
And that lasted us a few weeks.
Yep.
The last one went out on a Shopify order
3
on, I think, Thursday.
So I could have just torn into that bag. 3 different
Sure.
people.
I don't...
2 in store, 1 on the phone.
I do not know why Dark Horse cannot get their inventory right on Avatar graphic novels. I mean, just the idea of, they were doing these compilations, so none of the single volumes are in print is a huge mistake. And then on top of that, they can't seem to keep, at any distributor, the compilation volumes in stock. Like, there were only 3 books, I think, for Avatar that were actually, like, theoretically available. The Katara one that just came out, and then the omnibuses for Promise and Search.
Yeah.
And then Promise was the only one of those 3 that was even available at any distributor that we could find. I can't imagine it's any better situation now. But yeah, I mean, I'll
No, I think everyone restocks immediately after Christmas,
Yeah.
like we do.
December 26th, every distributor was getting pallets of stuff in. It's definitely how it works. So yeah, I mean, next time, I guess I'll probably order quantities of 10 for Avatar, which, of course, as soon as I do that, no one's going to care.
No one will want them. Yeah, for sure.
We'll be staring at those forever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we stopped stocking as heavily in Avatar, because they were just sitting around. And then as soon as people wanted them, they were completely unavailable. Fun stuff. Fun industry. Super fun industry.
Also, depending on if Southern Hobby calls next week, I already placed an order online.
I saw.
So you don't... I was going to say you don't need to add to it.
Bags and boards.
Don't order bags and boards. Everything else...
The only bags you ordered was resealable. Are we doing that while on the regular bags?
Did I do resealable?
You did.
Are you sure?
I am positive. I'll look it up on my phone if you want.
Well, that's a huge mistake on my part.
I saw that and I'm like, that seems like a lot of resealable bags.
Huh. All right.
Ultra Pro comic bags, modern size, resealable, 100 count.
Man, okay. See if I can't take that, because that order we didn't pay for that order. That didn't get placed. Maybe
it's
I can
hold till next shipment.
Yeah. Maybe I can. Man.
Also, I think do we need the penny sleeves for those?
Oh.
Are they just out of those?
Yes, they're out of half of the things I wanted to order.
I mean, there was a bunch of stuff. I had neglected to do the bags and boards earlier this week, but there was a bunch of stuff that I'd asked for that they were just like, it was the stock answer of no, and we're back ordered on all of them.
Yeah, I wanted to order more dividers. Can't do it.
Comic cases can't get. The Tasha's book couldn't get. Like a bunch of stuff where it's like,
Yeah. So I wrote up a note,
and
then angrily threw it in the trash because they're out of most things. I did not catch it was resealable. Man,
just order some more regular ones then.
But it's like one more thing.
Sorry.
Yay. I'm sure Garrett will happily cancel that for us.
I guess. Or, I mean, if worst comes to worst, we just stock more resealable bags. They'll sell at some point.
We have a ton of resealable bags now.
I know, but it's...
Yeah.
They won't
Yep.
go. They don't go bad.
I tried to order some more magazine bags. Out of stock.
Right.
Just out of stock for everything else.
Yep.
I was going to say something else aside from the Avatar books. No, I can't remember what it was, but there was a great situation where a dad and a child came in, and the child had a handwritten note filled with a bunch of books that they wanted that
Aw.
they double checked on our website that we had before
Aw.
they came in, and they just couldn't. They didn't know where they were in the store.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Do you know off the top of your head the Sidekicks versions of Champions?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a second volume?
No, it's coming out this week though.
Oh, okay. Because we had 4 copies of the first one, but I'm like, I don't think there's a second one yet.
Is it this week?
Then I said, did you see that one on our website? But the issue is, they don't know the difference between the
big size and the small size.
right.
Yeah.
They knew that they had some Miles Morales big size, and they knew they didn't want the small one. But also, when you use the word Ultimate Collection, especially when you are collecting an Ultimate Comics line, it definitely confuses everybody involved.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was great. They had a great
It's not
list of
this
stuff.
week, so maybe it's coming up. I
Okay.
can't remember. I feel like I saw it somewhere. Maybe it was just in like the.
Well, they placed an
Full
order
box or
for Miles Morales Ultimate Collection Volume 2,
Okay,
but the call goes to the dad, not to the child.
that makes sense. I prefer
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's just so, I mean, you'll forget then and I'll forget them, but just so we don't say, hey, your Spider-Man is in, and it's
Sure.
the child's
Got
other
it.
one. And then there was another instance that happens all the time in retail, and you're much better at asking people if they need help. I wait for them to kind of look like they need help,
That's fine.
but there was one time where somebody had said, well, do you want me to go with you and you can ask him? And that is the first time I've ever been asked by anyone, much less a child, to autograph the back of a bookmark.
Aw, that's adorable.
And then Marcelo said to the child, well, if you really like the Splatoon, we'll come back and get Volume 2 when Dow's working and he can sign the other side for you.
Aw, I'd be glad to.
Yeah.
That's very cute.
But then there was another time where it was somebody, like, they were talking by the door. They're like, and I overheard the, you can ask. And I go, hey, you can always ask. And they ask a question. It's like, yeah, you know what we have this thing. Why don't you, they
Sure.
like,
They
just
would
the
have
usual-
left without even asking.
Yeah, they would have just, like, left. And it's not that, like, oh, they're leaving without buying anything. They're leaving dissatisfied.
Right. And
Because
it's-
they don't know where a thing was, but they didn't want to ask where a thing was.
Yeah, and it's worse when it's something where, like, I can solve this problem for you. You could leave happy if you'd asked. It's, I think asking customers if they need help, there's so many variations on it. I think everyone's got a different feeling about the best way to do it. Like, some people will preach a really proactive, like, go up to everybody all the time and, like, make sure, like, can I help you find anything? Are you doing okay? Like, be really present for them because they need to know that, like, you're attentive to their needs. Some people are like, never ask them if they are finding everything okay. Always make it like just a conversation. So if they want to ask you something, they can. Like, you don't walk up to someone and say, oh, you're finding everything all right. Oh, can I help you find anything? You go up and say like, oh, hey, I like that book, or oh, this. So you're just like making yourself present.
Right.
Some people are like, do not approach anybody. People don't like that. They don't want to feel like they're being pressured. So hang back. If they need something, they will let you know. So there's all these different like philosophies on how to deal with people in the store. I don't think there's a wrong way. If
I just get
anything-
angry at Home Depot that I can't find what I want when I feel like I know their stores pretty well.
Sure.
But when I'm looking for a specific thing, it's like, oh, where? Then I go, oh, wait, well, here's where I think it would be.
Yeah.
And it's not. Like, ultimately, when I want to find a grabber, you know, the thing that reaches from a shelf for my dad, I know now that's in the home and garden section, like where the shovels are. But that's at Home Depot. If you were at
Menards.
not a different one, Lowe's. If you were at Lowe's, it's in the bathroom section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's things
Also
you
where
have
the
to learn.
shovels are?
Yeah, exactly.
So peculiar. Yeah, I think in general, the whole, like, asking customers if they need help, it's a thing where I don't know if it's most important that you should be doing it in a way that is comfortable for them so much as it needs to be something that's comfortable for you as the employee or you as the person asking them if they need
I
help.
think both.
Well, no, because I think, like, the other one, it's so variable. Like, you don't know how someone's going to take it. Like, it's not one size fits all. And so the only person in the equation that you can really make sure that is comfortable with the exchange is you, the person asking.
Yes, but for me, that comfort is, hey, if you have any questions, ask someone else.
Yeah, do that then.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was another.
You can always make it funny, like, oh, if you need any help, be sure to ask Gina.
There was another question asking situation. It resulted in an answer that was more than they wanted, I'm sure, but they were looking for a certain book.
Mm-hmm.
It's a book we don't stock because it's a problem creator.
Okay.
And I said, hey, we don't carry that book or any works by that creator. However, if you want it, we will order it for you.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm not against ordering a book for someone, but I want them to know why.
Right. Sure.
So I said, we don't carry it. Here's why.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was the father in the situation said, I'm so glad you told me. That's so great that you do it like that. Like, I'm glad that you're not carrying their books.
No, that's great.
And as I explained to Andrew, I'm like, look, I am more than happy to burn that creator to the ground, but I'm not just going to put it out there, like,
Sure.
hang up signs or whatever.
Right.
I just, like, if somebody wants to buy their work, I will sell it to them. I won't stock it. I'll sell it to them, but I want them to know what they're getting.
Sure.
And I know that there's a lot of stores that would not ever do that. They don't want, like, that's not our business. Like, that's not our business. That's
Right.
the creator's business. That's something else. What does that mean?
That you've reached your stand goal.
How can I have reached my sand goal when
Pretty
I've been
ridiculous.
sitting for the last 32 minutes?
Pretty ridiculous because it's, yeah, especially at this point in the day. Usually I only get it when it crests the hour because you need to be standing for 2 minutes of the hour.
Okay.
So it, like, I'll frequently get it if I'm, oh,
I mean,
it's
I
7:02,
was
but,
I was gesturing. Does that make
sometimes it, like the height measurement that your watch has, I can't remember what they call it, can get thrown off by how high your arm is raised, because it equates that to your arm resting when you're standing up.
I did use this on the bike this morning. I put the Fitbit on my ankle and I put this on my just to see what it gets.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea how that. I don't know how to measure this stuff.
Sure.
Anyway, far off topic.
Did you know that there's exercise stuff that you can set on your watch to specifically record a kind of exercise?
Yeah, I saw that there were options. I just didn't do a deep dive.
Sure. There's
only-
one for like stationary bike.
I've had this for less than a day.
I know, but I mean, you used it specifically this morning for exercise.
True.
So I thought maybe
True.
known that or not known that. Just scroll up a little bit. Oh, okay. Never mind.
I only picked 10 hours.
Sure.
I
okay.
like because after I get off work, I'm like, I'm not standing. Forget it.
Sure.
But also, I don't want it to tell me to stand during AEW.
Sure.
Back to the podcast.
Let's do it.
And that was another situation where it's like, you should just ask. Okay, I'll ask.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of a thing. So yeah, I know stores would rather stay out of it and not tell people.
Right.
Again, I am more than happy to, like, I'm not saying who it is right now because that's out of context, and that I feel is like crossing a line of just of flaming them for I was gonna say no reason, but it is for reasons. But
Sure.
In the context of the store, if someone asks about any creator, no matter who it is, if they're on that list,
Sure.
it'll come up.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst Andrew was working on back issues today, he's like, "What a great cover! Oh, look who it's by."
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, it can't be helped. You can't.
Cannot.
It can't be helped. Are you ready to move on to category 3, mechanical engineering?
I am, yes.
Do you have any guesses what that's about?
None whatsoever.
The rats are back.
Oh, great.
So, quick recap. The week of Thanksgiving, rats ate through my ignition injection wires and cost like $992 worth of damage to the car.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 weeks ago now, they did it again. There's only $740 damage to the car. And I've taken great steps. And
That's a whole production now.
it really is.
It's a whole production.
So the same wires are wrapped in anti-rodent tape, which is infused with the chemicals that are in pepper spray. So if the rats start to chew on it, it releases the burning chemical, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, my car doesn't have an engine cover. I don't mean I lost it. Mine never had one. It wasn't manufactured with an engine cover. So I built my own out of chicken wire, and I've zip tied it to the engine. So it's protecting all those wires. The only problem is it's also enclosed the oil dipstick and where you put oil in.
Mm-hmm.
So for oil changes, I'll need to disassemble it.
Sure.
I spray it down with 2 different brands of rodent repellent, which are basically strong peppermint smells because rats communicate via smell.
And I like that smell, by the way.
It's a good smell.
It really
it's
is.
a strong smell. I wonder if
like
I'll like it less the further away we get from Christmas because it's a very Christmassy smell.
It's true.
I also
It smells like trees. It's
put
very
an
foresty.
open
I like it.
bag of mothballs on top of the engine every night. I don't drive with them. I take them out in the morning, put it back on the car every night because the smell of the mothballs is supposed to drive rodents away. Lastly, I bought an ultrasonic / light flashing device to wire into the car's battery to emit a frequency that rats don't like, and also flash lights in the engine repeatedly to really disturb their eyes. Like, even if they close their eyes, it's so long as it's positioned where they're going to be, it'll just drive them away.
Okay.
The problem with that is that my battery is set so far back into the engine, I can't get to it. Except today, I learned how to get to it.
How?
Well, I looked it up on the internet.
I didn't realize you could do that.
There is a cowl over the engine of the car.
Okay.
I described it to you as a beam that goes across. It's actually just a large cowl,
Oh.
plastic cowl
Yep. Like Batman.
that needs to be removed. But because first I watched a video on how to take the battery out, which is ridiculous because you have to disassemble like the air filtration unit and take it out completely to be
Wow.
able to get to the battery housing to take that apart and then to slide the battery out.
Yeesh.
But this one is you come in from above.
Sure.
But the first thing you have to do is remove the windshield wipers. You have to take the windshield wipers off entirely
Okay.
and then unbuckle 4 or 8 clamps for the cowl, then unscrew it, and then under that is the second part of the cowl, which has to come out, and then you have full access to the battery.
Okay.
So it can be done.
Okay.
I just don't know when I'm going to attempt
when
it.
it's going to be
Because
done.
I want to attempt it like in the garage at the store
Of course.
and also during daylight.
Sure.
So anyway, clearly I got to and from work today.
Right.
I'm happy to report the rats did not get to the wires.
Okay.
They just camped out on top of the housing that I built. And how do I know this?
How, Patrick?
Because they shit everywhere.
Ooh.
They shit all over the bag of mothballs.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Now, fortunately...
They sent you a message.
They did.
Oh, man.
You're not stopping us.
It's on now.
Fortunately, it was very cold last night, so all of it froze.
Yay.
So it was very easy to remove, but you'll notice I immediately had to wash my gloves when I came home.
I didn't, but I'm glad to hear that now.
And, yeah, so that's how I know they were there.
Yeah,
You know, you've seen mouse turds before, right?
I have.
These are like raisins. Like, so much bigger.
That's great.
So on the one hand, I'm like, oh man, they didn't get under the cover.
Right. It worked.
Yeah. So I have another idea to add to it,
Christmas lights.
no, seriously, that 100%. If you put in like the big bulb Christmas lights
Uh-huh.
and just like run those under your car and have them turned on, the rats won't come by it. It's too bright for them.
Are you seriously putting Christmas lights inside your engine?
No.
Okay.
One of
Are you putting
the
the Wonder Woman LED light?
the easiest answer to what I could do
Uh-huh.
is just open my hood every night. I don't want to,
No.
right? I mean, I'm in a garage,
Yeah.
but it's not a private garage, and
No.
other people can come and go.
Yeah.
And I don't like the idea of just having it. And then I thought, what if I nose in instead of back in, and then stick a little further out so it's more exposed and
the hood of your
colder.
car isn't
Yeah.
enclosed.
But I don't like backing out of that garage.
No. Jeez.
I mean, there's a reason I've been backing into it for
Yeah.
10 years.
With how tight that alley is, yeah.
So I have an idea of another thing I can build.
Mm-hmm.
My plan all along was to build a new cover for it, but attach it to the hood so it raises and lowers when you close it.
Sure.
But you can't because more than half of those wires and things are under the cowl,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't support it.
No.
And then I thought, like, what if I just, like, cram a towel there, like, and make it block the space, but they'll probably chew that up and make a nest out of it.
Sure. I wouldn't put it past
Yeah, so the question is now, am I comfortable with them just camping out on top of...
being engine adjacent?
Yeah. And the answer is no.
No.
So, I have another plan for a thing I can build, but
Right.
but it's still something I would have to put in and take out every day.
Yeah.
It's just not as labor-intensive as mothballs. Yeah, I can't believe this is, like, on top of... I keep adding things to it, and these rats are like, what else you got?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do have... There's the rat traps that the exterminator put out there, and obviously they're not working, so it may be something where it's worth telling the landlord, hey, rat traps aren't working.
Yeah, I think maybe getting, like... I don't know if it's...
The exterminator said, like, when he left the traps, like, basically this is, like, step one.
Okay.
If this works, great. If it doesn't, there's more steps.
Okay. One of the things I thought that the exterminator didn't do properly was he put those traps out there, but I'd put mothballs all along the base of the garage, and there are literally mothballs right outside the front of the traps.
Yeah.
So what rat is going to walk over a mothball to get to its trap?
I mean, keep in mind that the rats slept a night next to the mothballs that you put in your engine.
Literally on the bag that they're in.
Yeah, so I don't think the mothballs, I don't think it's a deterrent to them like people say it is or you think they might be. They clearly, these rats at least, do not care about mothballs at all.
Wow.
But either way, it's maybe worth passing along to the landlord. Hey.
And I can't keep the rodent spray in the car because I put one bottle in. It froze.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if the oil would keep it from freezing. I didn't know what to expect. So I also don't want to have to, carry a bottle of oil, like, because I wonder if because I don't spray it every single day, but you're not supposed to. You're supposed to let it, like, spray it and build up, and then, once a week or so. But I feel like if I did it every day, but it's also, you burn through it. Like, you use a lot of it.
Here's an idea.
Yeah.
What if instead of spraying the car when you get home, what if you sprayed it when you got to the store? Like, keep the bottle of peppermint spray in the back hallway.
That's what I do.
Oh, I thought you did it here. Like, I thought, okay.
All the sprays at the store.
Oh, okay. Yeah, do that then.
Because I don't want to bring it into the apartment and bring it back out of the apartment.
Right.
Just over Christmas was a time, like, I'm going to try and see what happens when I put this bottle in the car.
Right, okay.
Because I'd rather just have it in the car, but who knows. And you're supposed to spray it all around the car and on the ground and everything else, but I'm like, that's going to take the entire bottle.
For sure.
And I don't know how long that has to be rebuilt or replenished or resprayed.
I see.
And so one of the things that I was told to do was if you tweet at Ford, they'll respond to you. Well, at Ford didn't respond and at Ford Service didn't respond, but it got some other responses from people. Some very unhelpful and from people that actually listen to this podcast. So again, thanks for those. And then just things like, why don't you...
You asked the internet, Patrick.
No, I didn't. I asked Ford on the internet.
Yeah.
It's just for
It's
Ford to be
public
able
forum.
to see it. Other people need to see it as well.
Oh,
I
sorry.
was not asking anyone else. Then someone's like, you should take a bar of, like, Irish Spring and shred it and put it in your engine. I'm like, I should not. That's not going to work.
You should inject bleach.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, are you Ford? Don't help. If you're not Ford, I mean, don't help. So, yeah, it's infuriating that my model doesn't have an engine cover when the other two do. And even in all the videos I was looking at on how to get the battery out and whatever, every single car that they're doing it on has an engine cover.
Yeah.
It's just insulting that mine doesn't. That's why this is a problem.
It is.
It's the only reason this is a problem.
The only reason.
Literally the only reason. You know what else is a problem, Dal?
What's that, Patrick?
Instagram algorithms.
Tell me more.
I will. So you're familiar with the site Instagram.
I believe it's Instantgram, but yes, I am.
And its whole purpose was it was like Facebook without anything else, just the photos.
Sure.
And then you could show a photo and people would like it and or comment.
Okay.
And that was what it was.
Sure.
And we've been on it for years, and we begrudgingly do it like most social media things. But thanks to our good friend Jermaine Exum, who had a very long chat with an Instagram account executive, we now know that Instagram currently prioritizes posts from accounts that actively and regularly use all of Instagram's features.
Such as?
I'm glad you asked me that, Dal. Because you and I think you put a picture up that's Instagram. Oh no.
Oh no?
There's more. There's stories.
Okay.
There's Reels.
Reels is their Snapchat, is that right?
I mean, I just figured Reels was their story. Reels is their TikTok.
Is it? Okay. Is Stories their Snapchat?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was
Yeah.
one of them. Anyway.
Product posts. Posts where you can sell things.
Okay.
Sponsored posts. If you do all of those on a regular basis, more people will they'll prioritize your posts.
Uh-huh.
And it's not just like, once or twice. Like, you need a full-time person to run your Instagram account for it to benefit you in any way or shape or form.
That sounds
If
bad.
you don't, and now we don't have a huge following. We have, I don't know, maybe 2,500 people that follow us. This is the point in the year where you can do your top 9 for the year.
Uh-huh.
And our most liked photo. Now, keep in mind, let's say we have 2,500 followers,
Okay.
which I can't remember if that's even accurate or not.
Let's say it is.
Can you guess how many likes our most liked photo of 2020?
250.
That's where the bottom end is for the top 9.
450.
462
That
likes.
was really close.
Yeah. And then I think 225 is our lowest.
Okay.
So those numbers are terrible.
Are they?
They're real small
Okay.
based off of how many people actually quote unquote follow
have
us.
you considered being an attractive woman on a beach in Dubai?
I have considered that many, many
I
times.
feel like that's a pretty good strategy for getting engagement on social media.
Yeah. Right? Well, also because most people just don't encounter our posts.
I suppose.
The posts of ours that do the best are the ones that have nothing to do with comics, the ones that are not promoting anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
For our top 9, I am featured. You can see my face in 2 of them.
Okay.
One, you can see my hand in a 3rd.
Okay.
Also in those top 9 is one of you,
Okay.
not with me,
All right.
and the only other person featured in ours is George.
Okay.
Our most viewed or our most liked photo was the tattoo, the Captain America tattoo.
People like tattoos on
Yeah.
Instagram, Patrick. I don't know what to tell you.
The one I put up
Get
of
more tattoos, I guess.
George and I doing our Alzheimer's walk was up there.
Okay.
When you met Spider-Man was up there.
When I met Spider-Man. Oh, right. Yeah.
He came to the store.
I do remember. I meet a lot of superheroes, Patrick.
It's
You
true.
don't know what it's
That's
like.
true. The second most liked photo was the one where I was confronting that shoplifter that I lifted off the security camera.
Sure.
Two of them, and I knew this was going to happen.
Uh-huh.
I knew that at least 2 were going to be in there. 2 were posts about Blue.
Sure.
Yeah,
That was earlier this year.
yeah, that's true.
Very briefly, but earlier this year.
But yeah, for us to get the most out of Instagram, I paused there because I was going to say the most money, most benefit out of
Exposure.
Instagram. You would need to use it so much more often than we do.
Hard pass.
Yeah, agreed. And it's all. I don't understand. You already have stories. Why do you need reels?
Here's my skepticism
Here's my old man view of the internet.
about social media, and basically what we've seen with it. A lot of times that we've done, social media advertising or more outreach via social media, the problem that we've always faced is that a lot of the engagement is from people who are nowhere near our store.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's good for local businesses, at least that I've found. Very little seems reliably helpful. There's just this a lot of people like this photo. I mean, how many of them live in Chicago? How many of them actively shop at our store? It was frustrating to see stuff where people on Facebook, when we used to do events, would say that they were maybe coming to an event, and it was you live in Colorado, you're definitely not coming to this event. But so yeah, the idea of putting more effort and energy into trying to game Instagram's system, no, I don't think I want to do that. That's not how I would prefer to spend what little energy I have left.
I feel the exact same, and I'm the one who has to deal with it more.
Then don't.
Yeah. And also, when we do something and people like it, and then they expect it, that it's oh no, now we have to do this.
Yeah,
we don't. It
that's
just
always
falls
been
off.
my obstacle for trying to do social media stuff for the store is the second it's okay, I'm going to make a concerted effort to do this, I could not want to do it any less.
Yeah.
As soon as I make it, okay, you have to do X amount of posts or you need to do this every day, it's by day 2, it's like, I hate doing this. I don't know I can't come up with anything. I regret ever starting this. So yeah, no, and I'll be honest with you, like, even if it's like bad for our business, I don't even care. Like, it's so like obligatory now to have like a social media presence. It's like, man, we're a bookstore in Chicago. Like, I don't want to have that. If you have things you want to say, like, when we get excited about books, I want to post about them. When you do something fun and you want to share it, that's great. But I don't want to make it like we have to have X amount of posts every week showcasing new products or whatever.
Look, when we even made it a point, like, oh, during the lockdown, we're going to do 2 amusing videos a week. I'm crippled for life as a result of that.
Yeah, you nearly died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that alone is a testament to not trying to do more social media stuff.
And also,
because it could kill one of us.
The video in which I suffered my nearly fatal injury was the least viewed of all of them.
Yeah. It's one you really had to be there for, I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I think the video does not do it justice.
It doesn't. And also, like...
I wish I had been filming my side of it.
The voice work was, on my part, left something to be desired.
Sure.
Just saying.
Yeah. Well, and
that's why we'll never do Instagram videos again.
Live and learn. Yeah, I don't...
Almost live.
Like, nearly every time that there's been a social media platform, there's inevitably been some trick to the algorithm where it's like, oh, you need to be fully committed to this if you want to get anything out of this platform. You can't just post to it anymore. Like, Challengers has been around long enough as a store where we've seen that across every single social media platform. Like, Facebook was a thing where you could just, like, post events and stuff and people could find them. And then suddenly it was like, oh no, you have to pay Facebook if you want literally anyone to see what you're doing. Twitter was a thing, and then all of a sudden it was like, I don't know if people are seeing our Twitter stuff that much. Or like, oh, people aren't really, like, doing Twitter as much. Oh, Instagram, that's where everybody is. And now it's like, oh, no one's seeing your stuff on Instagram either. Great. Yeah, definitely an old man where I don't, like, learning that new platform and trying to, like, maximize its potential. I'd rather just sell books to people. Like, that's fine. I read a bunch of preview comics this week. I'm glad I did that instead of spending time on
what?
Instagram.
I have not read anything.
Image posted a link to all of their March books.
Okay.
Short, the Scott Snyder one, because that one they do not feel like they need to give you a preview for.
Yeah.
So I read Ultra Mega #1 by James Herron.
Yeah.
Did not realize when I started it was 60 pages.
Oh yeah, it's every issue I believe is oversized.
Oh golly,
it's mega, Dal.
It's ultra and it's mega. Positives and negatives. Positives are James Herron's art is amazing. It's worth looking at literally every page to see what he's doing on it, even when it's not a giant monster. Negatives. James Herron's not a writer, and so the pace and plot of issue 1 is all over the place. The scope of what he's trying to do in one issue does not feel like it's paced out well at all. It feels like it could have been, I don't know, a minimum of 7 issues, and he did it in 1. So there's a lot of stuff where it's like, characters you start caring about are suddenly not part of the story anymore, and then other random stuff happens, and all of it ends up feeling like a prelude to a completely different story. So it's like, on the art, great. The story really needed a writer, or some, like, the kind of early Mike Mignola stuff where it's like, get John Byrne to help you with this.
Yeah, knowing your shortcomings right away.
Yeah, God bless him for wanting to tell this story. It's clear that he is putting all of himself into it. And 60 pages of James Herron art is nothing to turn your nose up at. But yeah, story-wise, it's rough. The plot and the pacing is very, very, very rough. And some of the dialogue is not super great. But in general, I mean, the designs and the art is phenomenal.
Kaijus are in now.
Worth the money just for that. But go in knowing that you are not going to get necessarily like a John Arcudi Rumble-style story. Like, that's not what this is. I also read Fear Case, the new Matt Kent, Tyler Jenkins book from
I have high hopes for that because I'm a big fan of Grassroots.
It's good. The premise of it is real intriguing. It's a real fun mix between, like, 100 Bullets and, like, Lovecraft. There's definitely a sense of a very big idea behind this that you're slowly getting to see the edges of.
Okay.
The art is solid. Tyler Jenkins isn't usually my guy. And there's some stuff in the beginning where it's 2 characters talking, and a lot of it is them not using each other's names, and then it happens in silhouette.
Oh,
So I'm like, I don't know who's talking to... This is the introductory scene, and I don't know who's talking to who about what. I don't know which character has which personality. But it comes together, and the first issue is real good. The horror elements of it, they don't really hold back on. It's good. Fear Case is worth checking out. I wouldn't say it's similar to Grass Kings really in any way.
okay.
It's definitely more on like it's sort of red-handed in that it's got some mystery elements and some crime noir stuff to it.
I think Red Handed is great. It might be my favorite Matt Kindt book.
Same here, but and then the other side of it is, I mean, I think it fits more in line with like a mind management red-handed sort of thing, where there's kind of a real world aspect that they're peeling the cover back on a little bit.
Sure.
So Fear Case is worth checking out for sure. And Ultra Mega, yeah, for the art alone. But yeah, a bummer, because Ultra Mega was the one that I was the most excited about for March. And it's like, oh, the story is not there. Good art, though. Really good art.
Nice.
What else did I read? I think that was it, maybe? I feel like that was it. I watched Wonder Woman. Watched the new Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, I did too, and I talked to a bunch of people today about it.
I feel like
and
everybody did on Christmas. I mean, that was the thing I was
feel
hearing
like
from most people.
You're the only person I've talked to who has positive things to say.
I liked parts of it. I think Kristen Wiig was really good in it. I thought Pedro Pascal was great in it. Chris Pine is the best Chris.
Pedro Pascal always looked like he was wearing a mask.
Sure. I guess he doesn't have the mustache. As soon as he doesn't have the mustache, it's like, it's not Pedro Pascal.
He felt like Mads Mikkelsen Jr.
Oh, okay. I mean, a lot of really fun character work in it.
If that's even his last name.
Mads Mikkelsen?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I thought they surrounded Gal Gadot with really good actors who figured out their characters and did some good work with it.
But that just shone a spotlight on her inabilities.
She's got a lot of weaknesses as an actor. She looks like Wonder Woman, and that alone carries a lot of the movie. And she's good at the action stuff and selling it within like those prolonged action sequences. Tough with the dialogue, tough with the emotional parts. Just is not quite as skilled an actor as everybody else that she's dealing with, and that's sort of a problem. But again, that's the positive of putting so many other good actors around her, is that it sort of distracts a little bit from her weaknesses.
Yeah.
You're not asking her to carry the movie a whole lot. The big problems are that she does have to carry some big moments and can't quite get there. The bigger problem is that it seems like the filmmakers were incredibly nervous about trying to do anything too different from the first movie, so they just remade the first movie in the 1980s.
I mean, kind of. There's scenes that felt directly lifted off.
I mean,
but...
I don't want to be too spoilery on it for people who haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But by the time I got to the 2/3 point, I'm like, you really are just hitting all of the buttons you can of the first movie, but in like shoulder pads. Yeah. Like that's the change, is people have shoulder pads now.
Did you feel like it was very Doctor Who-ish at a very certain point?
Yeah, a little bit, maybe.
The way how it was resolved?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, because
the point where Martha Jones was walking around the world.
No. I mean, that alone is that's kind of the end of the first one. It's sort of the same thing. Like, there's a specific message that they're trying to send with the character, and it just sucks because, like, the message is sort of the same thing in the second one as it is the first one. I don't know. Like, I found a lot of little elements to be enjoyable. There's a bunch of scenes that are really strong. But the movie as a whole, I think I would say I liked it maybe better than the first one, but I didn't love the first one a whole lot.
Yeah.
I thought the weaknesses of the first one were way stronger than the weaknesses of the second one. It might not have hit the heights of the first one, but like the kind of the band it's on between good and bad is a lot tighter and higher than the good and bad bands of the first one.
I'm glad that it didn't do anything to undermine anybody's love for the character.
No, I don't think so.
And especially if you were a young girl when the first Wonder Woman came out and it meant that much to you, you'll still get that feeling.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the movie they got wrong with any of the characters necessarily.
I don't mean specifically a young girl, but I do because it empowered a lot of young women.
Sure, I mean, there's a lot of young women who saw themselves in that character and found something to appreciate and not idolize necessarily, but like, were inspired by. Yeah, I don't think there's any huge error in Wonder Woman 1984. Like, there's not a beat in the story where I'm like, absolutely not. Yeah. It's, if you have HBO Max, it's worth watching this month, I think. It was fun for me to watch it, mostly because there has not been a blockbuster movie since Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, and I didn't like that movie a whole lot.
Yeah.
So the ability to watch a brand new, big budget superhero movie on Christmas Day, like just the concept of that floated a lot of it for me. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because it's like, I have not had this. I haven't had this experience in, 10 months. So yeah, I probably did enjoy it more than I should have, just because of like the novelty of it almost.
Yeah.
But I mean, that novelty does count for something.
Did you make popcorn?
What did I have? I think I had some of the Springham's popcorn mix, maybe.
Well, that counts.
I think I might have. Or no, did I do that maybe No, I did that Christmas Eve when I watched Godmothered, the Disney Plus Jillian Bell Isla Fisher movie. Yeah. Which was not great, but a fun Christmas movie, even though it's not really a Christmas movie. It just takes place during Christmas time.
Like Die Hard?
Kind of like Die Hard, yes. Jillian Bell is fantastic in it. All of the best things in the movie are her weirdo line readings and little bits of improv. The movie itself is fine. It's like the Noelle movie. Was that the one from last year with Anna Kendrick, where she's like Santa's daughter or something?
Never saw it.
I did, and I think that was the gimmick. They're all just like Elf. They're all just doing Elf, where like someone from the North Pole or a magical realm comes to regular world and is very upbeat and enthusiastic, but they're interpreting everything, and it's all just Elf.
Okay, before we get a million miles away from comic books, did you see Soul?
I didn't. I was going to watch that tonight after I eat dinner.
Well then.
Did you watch Soul?
No. I was working today, Dal.
You're not an animated movie guy.
Technically, I worked yesterday, but then technically so did you.
Yeah.
But I was at the store yesterday. You weren't.
I wasn't.
So take that.
Take that, me.
This is the last episode of this podcast for 2020.
It is. It's true.
Yeah.
No disputing that.
And whilst everyone is looking forward to a fresh start in 2021, I think it'll still be a ways.
Yeah, I mean,
until we
certainly the first few months of 2021 is going to look a lot like the last few months of 2020.
Yeah. Just with more rats, apparently.
More rats.
Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
After we finished recording tonight, we learned of the passing of John Huber, formerly Luke Harper, better known to us as Mr. Brody Lee from AEW Wrestling. The following is a little clip of him from an episode of Being the Elite, and it may not make any sense to you, but it makes us laugh so hard. It was so funny. And Mr. Brody Lee is this abrasive, mean, violent character, which is so far away from the man that John Huber was in real life. And the amount of people who have just offered these so touching testimonials, and every single one of them mentions how much he loved his family and how wrestling was a career, but being a husband and a father was the career for him. So please enjoy this. There's a lot of profanity, but it's so funny. And we will always remember Mr. Brody Lee. And as I record this, it's Saturday night. You know what that means.
What are you talking about, you little bitch? Did someone say, little bitch?
Oh, shit.
Put him down. Put him down. I'm not looking up. Put him the fuck down. Put him down!
Put him down.
Yep. Get out of there. Where the fuck did you get that jacket?
I do your dry cleaning, so I thought
Oh, what the fuck is wrong with you?
There's cake in there!
Are you kidding me? Fuck!
Oh. What's going on in here?
Sue, this motherfucker doesn't like your food.
Oh, God! Oh,
what the hell?
Oh, no.
Oh!
Do it again! Do it again! Do it again! Yeah! Yeah! You better fall the fuck down for Sue. Fall down! Fall down!
Oh! Oh!
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. He's dead. He's so hurt.
Thank you so much.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.